That.
Hey, we're live again, and now it's Nintendo. Um, we're live again. This is our second broadcast of two non-critics, just two lifelong movie buffs with very different tastes, talking about movies. This week, I have to make a bit of a correction. At the end of our first broadcast last week, I said that we'd be talking about Willie's suggestion, Vile. But no, actually, we'll be talking about the actual British movie I meant to say, Truth or Die. Anyway, just wanted to correct that. And again, I'm non-critic Dustin, and with me,
Is non-critically.
yeah, it took him a while to say that. I think he forgot his name, but here he is. but,
I forget here and there.
So why don't you introduce the movie, tell us why, and I say us, or really mean just me, because I don't know if anyone's going to watch this, but tell me why you chose Truth or Die.
Well, usually, like we said in the last broadcast, that I'm currently stationed in Hawaii. I'm on post. I'm part of the military. When I get out of work, if I'm having some stressful days at work or whatnot, I just pop in random movies. I just go on Netflix and just put on different movies, and I look at the little plot that they have to see what interests me. I'm a big fan of horror movies. Back in the day when I was a kid, pretty much was a little bitch about it, but
Yes,
I
you
grew
were.
up.
Yeah, you were.
He can attest to that, and yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But I grew up, and horror is one of my favorite genres of movies. Now, reason why I chose Truth or Die, well, number one, because the title. Because when you think of Truth or Dare, spin Truth or Dare, and like you'll spin the bottle, and you will just choose if you want to tell the truth about something or dare about something. So it was an interesting concept for them to say Truth or Die. Um, so the movie, I picked it just for the title for that reason. And then when I looked at the summary, it was pretty much how it says, telling me the truth, one of your deepest, darkest secrets that you're trying to hold from people or whatnot, or keeping that truth, die keeping that secret. So that's why I chose the movie. The movie is by David R. Ellis. He's a director, and now I want Dustin to give us a quick summary about the movie.
All right, will do. So, I could just read the summary on IMDb, but I'll give you mine. So, a bunch of really uptight and privileged British douchebags get together at the very beginning. The prologue of the film is at a party. It's like a college party, I guess, and they play Truth or Dare, and they have a confrontation. Anyway, months later, they get invited to this nerdy guy's house for his birthday. This nerdy guy his family's really well off, and they're thinking, oh, we're going to go to this big country mansion and have a good time. Turns out the house is all closed down, and they have to spend the party in this little shack. And the guy isn't even there. The nerdy guy who they were all hating on in the prologue of the movie. All of them except for the one girl. What's her name? Gem? Something like that? Gemma. Weird name.
He was the nerdy guy was kind of like the geek of the crowd. He was the one that nobody really paid attention to.
Yeah, you're right. And it's I'll bring that up in a second. But they all get to the party. You find out that the kid isn't there for the party. He's in some other country, Spain, I think they said. And they just have to party with the brother. And there's all this fancy booze, and it's just 5 of them. Was it 5? I don't know. But there's like 5 of them, and then the brother. And it turns out the brother's nuts, and that the geeky guy killed himself, and he's trying to figure out who sent this postcard that made him want to kill himself. And he makes them play Truth or Dare, and people end up dying, and then there are twists and turns, which we'll go over later, but there you go. Worst synopsis ever, but I suppose I'll just tell you real quick what I thought about the movie. And I thought it was pretty okay. I'm surprised I didn't hate it because, unlike you, I do not like the title whatsoever. It's really cheesy. Sounds like a Halloween special for like Rugrats or something. Or the Simpsons. Why did I say Rugrats? They wouldn't do that. The Simpsons or something. I didn't like the title at all, but I thought the movie was perfectly adequate. It didn't blow my mind. It didn't make me angry. The actors were pretty good. They were all pretty serviceable for their parts. It was shot well enough. And I was happy that it didn't go too far in the torture department because I grew up loving horror movies and I've sort of been burned out on them over the past few years. I have very little patience for them anymore. And it's not because I'm a movie snob who's like, they don't make horror movies the way they used to. Any horror movie, I have like no patience for it anymore just because I've watched so many. And it held my interest, and I was glad they didn't go too far into the torture stuff because I'm not a big fan of torture. I think it's cheap and what's not. So there you go.
Nice. Well, okay. My opinion about the movie in general. It was interesting. Um, Definitely wouldn't say it was the best movie I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
The torture, it wasn't over the top. It
It's
was
pretty
just tasteful.
minimal. I wouldn't even say any of it was really. I guess it was more psychological torture than like
Hmm.
torture porn. It definitely
Yeah.
wasn't Saw or Hostel or any of that garbage. It
Oh
was,
no, nowhere near that. It
yeah.
was tasteful in the scenes that it was meant to show.
Mm-hmm.
It was tasteful. Um, as he was explaining the summary, like he said, pretty much it was the geeky kid's older brother that came back. Funny, came back from the military
Yeah.
on leave. He came back on leave, and like Dustin was saying, they come from a wealthy family, just pretty much born with a silver spoon in their mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Folks have big real estate, um, and a big, well-known company, and they are honored. They're honored among their peers. They have so much loyalty that the older brother couldn't understand why this happened to his younger brother. With as much privileges as he has, as they have, he couldn't understand why this happened to his brother. So the postcard that was sent, that he gave to the other um,
The
college
party.
students,
Yeah.
at the postcard that he gave them, while his brother expressing how like that he was gonna kill himself, it said "truth or dare, bitch," and
Which is
not to
what
be.
they said that in the during the party scene at the beginning, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Like the bully guy was like truth or dare, bitch,
Yeah,
and so
and
that
that
was
was
a callback.
that was supposed to be the a drive or a reason why he did what he did. So the older brother was just trying to figure out why did he send this postcard.
And
This was
who
from the
sent
night
it?
of the party.
Yeah.
Who sent the postcard?
Mm-hmm.
And this, what led him to do this? You are his friends. Why did he do this? This is the only clue I have.
Mm-hmm.
Now, because those the college students felt tricked because they thought they were going to a party, his birthday party, because they felt that they were tricked into coming there to try to investigate them. They wanted to leave. The
Right.
older brother would not let them leave, and he actually held them as hostages. And that's where the torture and stuff begins, to trying to find out the truth. But he does it in the form of playing truth or dare.
Mm-hmm.
With So anytime that they do a truth, they of course have to say the truth, or they suffer the consequences. If they do a dare, it's just suffering. So
I can't even
Either.
remember most of the dares in it. All I remember is when he has the two big tanks. One has water and one has battery acid, and
Mhm.
you had to, and he put the tube in
Two.
one of their mouths all the way down into their stomach, I guess, and you had
Hmm.
to choose which had the water and which had the battery acid. And if you're right, then they just fill out the water. If you're wrong, then obviously fill out the battery acid. I didn't really need to explain that; it was pretty self-evident. But
Yeah.
um, that's really the only dare I can remember. Isn't that really all he did for dares?
Yeah. Because that's actually the only torture method he had because there were a lot of interruptions while he was trying to
Yeah.
get the truth out of everybody. There was a person. Yeah, I watched the movie. There was a person that came to the door that was trying to come into the party
He was
because
a drug dealer, right?
yes, because the way the setup is, he had four people tied in chairs, but there's five. So the fifth one, he had him helping him tie the other people up.
Mm-hmm.
That was a drug dealer. The drug dealer's, I guess, best buddy came over, who's also a drug dealer. He wanted to get into the house.
I
They're
had the
trying.
impression that sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I had the impression that the guy who was coming to the party was like the drug dealer's supplier. Like, what was the drug dealer's name? Luke, I think his name was. That's like the only
Yes,
character's name I remember.
Lou. Lou.
Because wasn't there a scene at the party where the drug dealer showed up and he gave Luke the drugs? I don't remember. Anyway, I just got the impression he was the supplier because when he came into the party or when he was trying to get in the party, he was like, "Hey, it's a private party." He's like, "What? You don't need my stuff no more?" He got all British ghetto on him.
Very true. Very true.
Mhm.
I think you're right. He was. Yeah, he probably was the supplier, and pretty much Luke was trying to warn him to, you know, leave the
Get the hell
house.
out.
He was trying to hint to him like this is a private party. You can't come in. This is a private party. But you watch the movie, shit hits the fan, and the supplier ends up getting caught up into the mix of things, and not.
That's where the movie, didn't mean to cut you off. That's where the movie starts to sort of fall apart for me. It doesn't totally fall apart, it doesn't fall to pieces, but that's when I start to sort of check out of the movie. And I start going, okay, I'll stick with it, but, and I'll tell you
check
why.
out
But
check out time.
so really quick, before we go any further, if anyone is watching this, and any of you have not seen Truth or Die, and you have any interest in watching it, we're going to get into spoilers. That's where I can tell by how he's summarizing things. That's where we're going. So if you don't want to be spoiled, don't pay
well,
attention.
well, no, I actually
Because
will
I want
hold
to
off.
explain why. Because I just did want to explain why it sort of falls off the. It starts to fall apart for me. But no, go ahead. You want to hold
Well,
off
no,
on that?
I'll hold off on the spoilers. You
Okay.
can give your explanation. I'll
I'll
hold off on the
spoil it.
spoilers.
I don't give a shit.
I mean, because anybody that's watching, every week we do a new movie. We, if you are interested in this movie, we will not we will not give you any spoilers. We will not do any spoilers. Promise you that. And send more comments if you feel that we're just ruining for you. Then we'll just give little hints. We'll explain the plot and our opinions about it, and then you just give your comment of what your opinion of the movie is if you want to watch it. So we won't do any
So,
spoilers.
all right, I'll avoid spoiling it then. I'll be nice.
I
I'll tell you
mean,
what I think of it, but I
you
won't
can
be
you can
specific.
you can for this one you can do it for this one, but for
All
the
right,
next
fine.
upcoming one, but it also depends on what anybody has to say about it. If they don't care that we give spoilers, then don't care. Just put your comments down. If you do care, then we will shut up about the endings.
Yeah. Anyway, so you were saying he gets mixed up in the thing. This is where it starts to fall apart because the actions of this Luke character are asinine to me. I understand that you are in a situation that you never in a million years thought you'd be in. That's always been a criticism of horror movies that I never thought really. Sorry, I'm gonna close this. That I never really thought held any water. People used to say, "Why would you do that? Why would you?" come on, you know this is a horror movie. No, the characters don't know they're in a horror movie. They're just in this horrific situation, and you can't think straight.
Hmm.
But his reasons for doing the things he does, which is staying loyal to Justin, his name was, right?
Hmm.
The,
Yep, the
the,
older
the
brother.
military guy, yeah. His reasons for staying loyal to him and helping him out, are just they hold no water either. He thinks that because this family's powerful, if he helps him out, then when the police get involved, he'll protect him and he won't have to worry about it. So he's literally the guy holding the gun. He's holding the gun for Justin. And Justin puts him in a position where he's like, you can either try to shoot me or you can try to shoot him because there's like 3 bullets left in the gun or whatever. And it's just try to shoot him. What? Look, you don't need his family to protect you. If you kill him and free your friends, and you guys get out of here because that drug provider's car is there now. You guys drive out of there. You go to the police. Be like, hey, this fucking crazy person was trying to kill us because his brother, give all the reasons. The police will be like, oh, all right. Well, I guess it was self-defense then, and you won't need any protection. I don't know. That I had a hard time buying
Yeah, I same. I had a hard time buying that too because Justin, the older brother, I guess he just put so much fear in Luke that Luke just felt that he had to yield to every command that he gave. Because Luke is a guy from the military. He's been deployed so many times. He's seen battle. He's taken lives before. So Luke felt in his mind, I don't compare to that. I can't beat that. So the only thing I can do is join that, so I don't get hurt. That was pretty much
it.
Luke's mindset.
Well, no, I agree with you. I had trouble, and I think you're right.
Oh, I had
When he
trouble
did it,
too because
I was just like, come on, man.
I had trouble too. I was just like, "What the? Shoot him! Stab him!" Like I was getting so pissed off. I was just like, "Really? His guard is off. It doesn't matter how much training or whatnot you have. Like if you can get that open, if you can get that open spot. If you can catch him off guard and just quickly shank him in the neck or something, there you go. He's down. He's down for the count. Like, yes, I understand that. I definitely understand because I do training myself. But you have to, with every training that you do, you still have to do your best to be on guard at all times. And you're never going to be on guard at all times. You're going to let your guard down here or there. And that's when someone else has the opportunity to try to take you out. Luke had multiple times where he could have taken him out, but because of fear, he just yielded.
Yeah, well, I guess I've never been in a situation like that, and I don't want to criticize it too much. But I mean, it made the story feel a bit weaker to me. But I mean, that isn't anything compared to how the movie really just sort of unraveled at the ending. But basically, I try not to watch movies in a way where I analyze them while I'm watching them. I just try to experience them, and if I don't get a fulfilling experience, then later on, I think, well, why is that? Why didn't? Obviously, the movie wanted me to feel excited or wanted me to feel scared. Why wasn't I scared? And so I figured that stuff out later. This movie, for some reason, I couldn't get sucked into it. So at moments like that, I was already somewhat detached from the movie, and that I just become entirely separate from it. And the rest of the movie just kind of turned into, all right, okay, I see what they're doing. And I started analyzing it while it was going. And I really don't like doing that because I think only pretentious douches do things like that. But um, it's it was the way the movie begins when they show up at the party anyway, not the original party, but this other party. I was like, there's only 2 ways this movie can go. Either one, the the brother, the brother is doing this because his. Okay, I take it back. There's like, no, you know what? I'm sticking with it. There are two ways that this can go. Either Justin is doing this in cahoots with his brother, and they plan this together. Basically, he's not really dead, or he is dead. Either way, whichever way this movie goes, I will not be surprised. And you know what? I won't spoil this part. But the way the movie went, I was not surprised. And I don't. Were you surprised at all?
Um,
Not yet?
I was a little surprised at the ending. I didn't expect the type of ending that it showed. Didn't really expect that. Mind you, people, I did watch this 2 or 3 times because the first time I was watching it, I was falling asleep, so I had to watch it again just to get everything clarified in my head. Okay, this happened and this happened. So, but when I actually paid attention and saw like from beginning all the way to the end, I was a little surprised about the ending, just a little bit. It was just one of those it wasn't something where it just blows out the water like, oh, whoa, that was amazing. I didn't expect that. It was just one of those like, really?
Now, when I say ending, I don't know. Are you talking about the big reveal of who sent the card and why the brother would want to hang himself, or the other thing I mentioned, which is whether or not the brother is really dead? Because that's what I meant. Were you surprised to find out if he was dead or not when they did reveal that?
I was surprised the very ending, just the big
Okay.
crescendo.
All right. Yeah.
The very ending, like, yeah, it didn't really phase me much with the situation with the younger brother,
Mm-hmm.
with him hanging himself and trying to see if he's still in cahoots with his older brother or whatnot.
Right.
Just the very end when
Mm-hmm.
everything exploded, everything was revealed, why this
Literally
happened,
exploded.
what one
Ah.
spoiler. what, what happened from how we got from point A to point B.
Right.
That is what made me just go, really? I didn't think that would be the case, but all right. All
Yeah,
right.
that really comes out of nowhere. When they do the big, okay, so there's two big reveals in this movie. Because, like I said, you're wondering, did the brother really kill himself? And if not, where is he? If he is, oh well, that sucks. So they explained that. And then I wasn't surprised by that. But when they finally do the big reveal, when they're like, okay, you wanted to know who sent the card? We now know who sent the card. You want to know why your brother would want to kill himself after he received that card? Why don't I show you on my cell phone? The video footage that appears on the cell phone comes so it feels like it's part of a different movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like yeah, this is a horror movie. They're gonna push boundaries. They're gonna do weird things. But this was like there was. I mean, yes, the girl who's doing it seems like the type of girl who might set some. Okay, spoiler: the girl's involved. But
Mm-hmm.
fuck it, you said I could spoil it. So the really slutty girl, the whole movie is a bitch, and she's annoying, and she's uber slutty, and she's obsessed with being slutty. She is the one that does the big reveal, and I won't explain what that is because you kind of just have to experience it. So she's explaining why the brother might want to kill himself, which that whole scene bored me to tears. Not because what they're talking about isn't interesting, but the setup for it. Because at this time,
Mm-hmm.
they like people are dying, and you could easily just say, "Here, look at my cell phone. There's your answer. I gotta go save my friend." But instead, she does this big whole like Agatha Christie thing. Like I don't know if you ever read or watch any Agatha Christie stuff where the detective at the end is like, "Oh, I'll explain all the motivations," or like Sherlock Holmes or something
Yeah.
with Conan Doyle. But this is big, drawn out thing, and I'm like, just fucking go! And what she reveals, like I said, feels like it came out of a different movie. There was nothing to suggest that the characters involved in what was going on would be involved in something like that, except for her.
Yeah.
And had they just done one thing, maybe one throwaway line somewhere that
Mm-hmm.
said that would hint at that, I would have been like, okay, makes sense. But at this time, I was watching that, and I was like, what? really? Okay, I guess. Like, her motivations for doing it made sense. The fact that would drive him to want to kill himself makes sense. But the action itself didn't make like a fucking sense. What did you think
No,
of that?
it didn't make any damn sense. It really did. Like it, everything. You're absolutely right. It was kind of like seeing a whole different movie at the very end. Like it was like a different part from a different movie, just
Mm-hmm.
placed in the ending because everything that led up to the big, the big truth of what really happened, why his younger brother did what he did, who sent the postcard. All of a sudden, when you find out the truth, you're just like, what the
Yeah,
what? Like,
yeah, you're more baffled than you are surprised.
he's like, what the hell? Really? Did that? They thought of that? Like,
Yeah.
you just couldn't believe it. Like, really? Never would have guessed that. But okay, I guess. All right.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, in the end, not at the end of the movie, but in the end of thinking about this movie, it could have been way worse. I mean, it's one of those horror movies on Netflix that has a cheesy title that apparently
Mm.
grabbed some people's attention and has horrendous cover art. Like, I was expecting, when you told me to look up this movie and I found it on Netflix, I was like, oh god, because the cover art is so generic and bad. No, and it doesn't even tell you anything about the movie. I mean, which is
So,
okay, I guess, but it doesn't. Anyway, what?
no, I was saying, so was the title of the room. When you told me the title, I was like,
Right, that's true.
all right.
That's true. But I mean, overall,
He's like, I want you to watch the room.
yeah, watch that movie. This by no means is this really a bad movie. I just wouldn't say it's a particularly good movie. It's
Yeah, yeah, of course.
it's an adequate movie. So after all that, you have any? I cut you off a lot. I'm sorry, but I tend to do that. Anything else you wanted to
You're
say
good.
that I stopped you from saying?
Nah, you're good. I'm pretty much done with the movie because it like I said, for me it was interesting. Wasn't the best movie ever. It's not something that I would just random. It's not something I would want to watch over and over and over again. But it just caught my interest because nowadays I'll just watch random movies, that just give a little plot, see if it has some interest, see how many the rating of the movie, how many
Mm-hmm.
stars it got, and I'll just give it a try. I'm just starting to be more open to giving things a try, just to see as far as like different genres of movies, different stories, different plots that they have.
Mm-hmm.
And if I like it, I will be glued to it. If I don't like it, I'm probably falling asleep.
Well, there you go.
Which I did. I did fall asleep, and I had to watch it again. I had to watch it again just to be. It was late at night, though. My excuse was late at
Right. Okay.
night.
So you fell somewhere in between. You weren't glued to it. You did fall asleep, but you wanted to come back to it. And there you go. It's a good way to describe this movie. It falls in
Mhm.
between. There you go. But so I guess we're done for now. Because we don't really. We're just figuring this stuff out as we go. We're tap dancing as fast as we can. But next week we'll be back. Another movie. This time I have suggested that we really watch the documentary The Dungeon Masters, which is a fascinating documentary. I can't wait to talk about. And then week after that, we'll be back with another one of his suggestions. If you haven't picked it up, that's what we do. Every other week, we suggest a movie for the other to watch. But until then, I guess I am non-critic Dustin.
And
You
I am
are.
non-critic Willie. I'll just say
There you go.
Will.
There you go.
Fuck it.
Yeah,
Keep
yeah.
it
You don't
Will.
want to sound like an 8-year-old.
Hey Willie. Hey guys.
And so I guess there we go. Thanks for watching. If anybody watched it, we don't have a sign off. Bye.
Bye.